Hello, Tubies. I hope you're doing fantastically fabulous today, and if you're not, well, I'm not sure how to help you. But I can tell you that I look the same because I am recording a bunch of videos in one go because I have a lot of topics to talk about, and I wanted to talk about a lot of things. Okay? Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, which was inspired by the last video that I did, which was on the subject of what can you teach in witchcraft. Today's subject is going to be kind of a dark side of TikTok kind of video, but asking a question of why. So when I did the dark side of TikTok, there was this conversation around, and it's still very prevalent on TikTok at the time of this recording, but there was this conversation around who is and who isn't a witch. I have, as I've stated in previous videos numerous times, been embroiled in all kinds of drama on The Witchy Show with witches and just people in general, because when you put a bunch of people together in a social media platform, they're not always going to agree with each other, and sometimes people have their own ways of really showing you kind of who they really are with their words and their actions and just all of that fun stuff, right? We've all been there. But when it comes to TikTok, there is this conversation around if you're not doing it a certain way. And that kind of alludes back to my What Can You Teach with Witchcraft video, because in that video I talked about how there are basic things that every witch should know, right? Well, maybe not should know, but it has some kind of inclination of, right? Casting circles, spells, different herbs, moon phases, rituals. Everybody does a ritual differently. But there seems to be a conversation on TikTok these days about what is and what isn't witchcraft, and who can and who can't practice witchcraft, and who is allowed to practice certain traditions that aren't closed, and who are allowed to practice certain traditions that are but actually aren't closed. A prime example being Wicca. I talked about that in the dark side of TikTok video, where I had stated that there is a conversation that Wicca is a closed system and you have to be initiated. That conversation on TikTok has recently exploded into Wicca is an initiation-based only practice, which is not true if you read any book other than a Buckland's book, right? There are certain traditions of Wicca, if you want to follow those and you're in a coven, where they will initiate you, but they're mostly initiating you not into the practice of Wicca, but into the coven itself. Okay? And there are books geared towards coven practices, but there is no closed system when it comes to Wicca at all, which I find fascinating that people would think that Wicca is a closed system when in reality it's not a closed system. There's also a conversation going on around if you're doing it this way, that's wrong. You have to do it this way. And the key word there that you should underline, bold, and get your highlighter ready for is have. You have. Who says? Unless you're following a very specific tradition, a very specific path, a cultural path, or a racial path, or something that was handed down to you from somebody or a group of somebodies, there is no have to do it a certain way. For example, some TikTok videos showing off money spells are being berated by people saying you're doing money spells wrong. You're using the wrong candles. You're using the wrong herbs. Your intentions are wrong. You're not a real witch. You're a fake. And I'm not really sure where this conversation came from or why it needs to be happening, because witchcraft is not Christianity. Even in Christianity, I don't think you can pray wrong. I think the only wrong thing in Christianity is to assume that the devil is better than Jesus, or to not accept Jesus as your savior, or to not live a specific way of life by a specific set of rules outlined by a book written by men. I think a lot of people, whether it be on TikTok or wherever, may come from that type of upbringing. Certain things that you do are wrong. You have to do it this way. Maybe they read a book that said you have to do it this way. Maybe their spiritual practice states you have to do it this way. But no one really has to do anything that way. And it's not even really just people who want to bully other people. It's people who want to sell their goods and services. Oh, you're doing witchcraft wrong. Go to my website and sign up for my course. I'll teach you how to do it right. You're using that candle wrong. Go to my website. Sign up for my course. I'll teach you how to do it right. You're using the wrong herbs. It's not a money mixture. Go to my Etsy shop and buy my money mixture. It works 100% of the time. Oh, you're not allowed to work with that god or goddess. Go to my website. I'll teach you. $75, I'll teach you. $125, I'll teach you. You see where I'm going with this? It's not even really a bullying thing anymore. It really is. But it's more of a fear thing. It's more of oh, I must be doing it wrong. They'll teach me. I'll go and pay the $75 and then I'll be doing it right. They're trying to use fear and they're trying to bully you into buying their goods and services that they say, based off of their own experiences, works. I don't buy witchy things from other witches on the internet because it's their energy. It's not mine. It's their energy that they put in to be used for a very specific thing. It's not my energy. I didn't make it. I didn't take the time to craft the candle or the doll baby or the oil or whatever the case is that they're selling and put my own intentions in and use it for my own beliefs and practices. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with selling your goods and services, but there's a wrong way to do it. Fear-mongering is the wrong way to do it. Telling people that they're doing their craft wrong is the wrong way to do it. You can't do witchcraft wrong unless you're following a very specific tradition, your coven has very specific rules, you're following a cultural path that's done it a certain way for thousands of years, or a racial path that's done it for thousands of years, or whatever the case may be. But if you're somebody like me who just practices witchcraft with no clear direction in their craft and just does whatever they want to do to get the thing that they want to get, however they want to get it, and you can't do it wrong. That also goes back to a comment that I talked about in my dark side of TikTok that somebody had left on my channel, where they had basically stated that the reason that I had felt so disjointed and so out of place and just didn't fit in is because my craft doesn't follow a specific set of rules or road or path. It's all over the place, that I should read books. I've received a few other of those comments about how I'm doing it wrong and I should go and pay for their courses and so on and so forth. I don't really want to pay for your course. I don't want to buy your items. I don't care about what it is that you're peddling on the streets with your snake oil salesmanship. I care about my craft, and it works for me. And the reason that I felt so disjointed and unfitting in had nothing to do with my craft at all. It had to do with other reasons. People are so quick and eager to tell you that you're doing it wrong, but if you tell them that they're doing it wrong, or you try to stand up for yourself, it's a war of the words. It's just back and forth over and over again. It's pointless and a waste of time is the point. Don't do it. I've been the type of person to call somebody a fake witch. I do believe that there are some people, and I believe this in my heart of hearts and deep within my bones, that there are some people out there who use witchcraft as a label, as a way to fit in to a group of people that they otherwise wouldn't fit in, or otherwise don't fit in anywhere else. They see witchcraft as a rebellious type of thing, something that strikes fear in the hearts of others. They have no power of their own, so they use the label witchcraft to give themselves power. Instead of forming their own power, they take power from others. They bully others. They blow up their altar. They talk nonsense. There's no substance to what they try to say when it comes to the craft. And you see it time and time and time again with their videos. And I do believe that there are people out there who don't actually really practice the craft. They just want a community to fit into. And they want the shiny crystals and the sage sticks and the thousands of herbs and the nice books and the fancy this and the fancy that. And I suppose that there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not really practicing the craft and you're just sitting on your live streams talking about nothing and having no substance to any of your videos, or even worse, begging for items, begging for people to give you items, please don't send me items, even though if you go to my Amazon, you'll see my wish list. I really don't want any items, though. If you want to trade, that would be cool. These people don't really understand what witchcraft is. It's more than spells and rituals and fancy altars and social media posts and so on and so forth. I think there are some people that, when they use the label witch, they really want to strike fear in others because they're afraid. They have no power. They want to make other people fear them. I'll cast a spell on you. I'll cast a curse on you. I'll hex you. It's words. There's no substance and no power behind them. But then there are other people out there who are practitioners, who have shops and teach courses and so on and so forth. But they're so desperate to sell their goods and services that they'll make you feel like you're doing it wrong, that you're using the wrong items, that you're not real unless you're doing it their way, unless you're doing what they say, using their items, putting money in their pockets. They'll attack you. They'll make you feel like scum. They'll berate you. They'll talk about you. They'll start drama with you, lie about you, anything they have to do to get the community to turn against you, to make you feel like you don't belong anymore, like you want to curl up in a ball and die. That's not how to do witchcraft. That's not how to be in a community. It's one thing to peddle your wares and your services and your spells and your so on and so forth. It's another thing to berate people, attack them, bully them, beat them down into the dirt until they feel like scum. And it's another thing to want to be a part of a community desperately, But how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to lie? To pretend? To fake it? Because you want friends? A semblance of belonging? A reason to exist? Strike fear in your enemies' hearts with your words of your powerful magics? You can't do it wrong. The craft, that is. But the way you treat other people in the community of people who have their own practices and spiritual beliefs and their own upbringings and their own reasons for doing what they do can be wrong. I don't care what you're selling. I won't buy it. It might be a pretty oil. That's really all it is. It's not my intentions. It's yours. It won't work for me. And that's okay. I have no problem with that. But don't try and tell somebody they're fake and they're stupid and they don't know what they're doing just because it's not how you do it. Hate only breeds hate. Drama's fun until it gets boring, until it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Don't be hateful.